All right, so now let's get into the balustrade. Now, there's some good terminology here. The railings, let's keep that in mind. The railings are the kind of horizontal members. I mean, it's everything, but the things that we were touching on before are the horizontal members. So the top rail, the handrail, those things. Now, the next piece, these verticals, that's the balustrade. That's what they refer to it in here. So I'm going to edit type. They're also known as styles. It all depends, I suppose, you know, what term you want to use. But we'll stick with baluster placement. So that's, you know, those guys, those verticals. And then, so this is similar as far as that goes, is the placement. So if you had a specific reason why you want to, you know, have one component, let's see, that may not be a good example. Let's say we had this one here, where we have the verticals and the horizontals. You can see right now they're kind of coplanar. They butt up right next to one another. But let's imagine that we didn't want that, and we wanted that baluster, the vertical, to be offset. So let's see what like 1 inch does. So that, let's go 1 inch positive. And you can see that it goes inboard, so suddenly those railings can go past it and are attached maybe here on the side. So that's one of the things that you can control. And then the rest of it you start to edit inside of this dialog box. Again, dialog box after dialog box. So here, this is an interesting, this is a fun dialog box. I say that sarcastically for a reason. Okay. So the first thing you have to understand is that you have all these kind of families. So you can change, you have some loaded up stuff here already that you right now can change it from round 1 inch to round 3/4 to round 2 inches. So if we wanted to get really thick with that family, we could do that here. And it's not going to show up until, why isn't it showing up? Whoa. Oh, because with it, we don't have the other, we haven't gone beyond the distance that this is set up for. So if we, I don't know, make it 2 feet, maybe then we'll change the, yeah. So this first, to describe what's going on, this is the main pattern. So if this thing is, say, 20 feet long, and let's go ahead and let's do that. We'll go ahead and edit this path, and let's just make this kind of, you know, super long, and we'll go ahead and do the same with that. You can see that the main pattern, which is 2 feet, is going to be that thick, that thick piece. And if, say, we wanted to go inverse to that, maybe we go with this thinner piece for that, we should see that change right there, okay? So the end conditions and the corner conditions are that's all described right here. So if we wanted then, okay, we really want it to be heavy at the ends. We want this thing to show that it's going to support you regardless of how much pressure you put on it. Then that's where we would change that, and you can see you should be looking here and looking here. That's where that will change. Okay, so the rest of these parameters, you can see what happened here. I was able to change it from 4 feet to 2 feet, and that made it more dense. Now I've made it less dense by going back to that 4 feet. So all this would depend on, you know, structure that you have, the horizontal pieces that you have in between these balusters, how far they can span. That would mean, you know, you have to have either these closer or further, or could have them further apart. So let's look at the other things that you have, you can put into place. So this is asking you where the base is. Our base is the host. Now the host in this case is, it should be that line. It could be also level 1. I'm not certain at the moment, but it's essentially based on where we drew this, which I think was on level 1. Yeah, so that's the host right now. So if I wanted to make that, you know, if I did have some kind of planter, I could make that the host, and then I could, you know, or if the planter was 18 inches tall, I knew that was going to be, and this is going to attach to it all the time, then I could change it from host, could change it 18 inches up, apply that, and then we would see that kind of move up. That would be a rare condition, but that's how you'd handle that. If then it's going to the top, so right now it's saying it's going to the top rail element, so it's going all the way to this top rail. I can change it if for whatever reason I need it to go to the rail 4, I would just change that there, and suddenly these are only going to go up so far, right? Okay, so most of this is self-explanatory, and each one of the rails, we'll go into that here in a second, how that was built. Okay, so and then it has the same thing. So if I want to top offset, so this really wants to be -2 inches from that, I can then, it can go -2, it stops short. And so on and so forth. So the same thing would be here at the edge, although there is now this spacing factor that pushes this to be, you know, so let's just see what that does. So I'm going to put 6 inches so we can actually see what it does. And you see that it shifted it inward 6 inches. I don't think that's really what we wanted to do. So I will go back and I would add in that 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's really how the balustrade works.